Last episode, I joined FC Barcelona from River Plate and I earned my spot in the starting 11. Then after making the starting 11, I did what Messi could not. I scored a brace in my La Liga debut. Now in this episode, I get a Champions League debut and the first El Classico of my career. And the pressure is still on for me to perform. My name is Giovanni da Silva and I am the next Messi. My journey at FC Barcelona continues with a match against Cadiz where we end up losing 3-2, and to be fair I had a bit of a terrible performance here. But I would have a chance to redeem my bad form a few days later against Villarreal. From my very short time in Spain, I can definitely say that some of these teams have some great fans and some great atmospheres in their stadiums. But they serve more than just tourist attractions. These places are hella intimidating. But as the next Messi, I had to show these fans that I'm up for the challenge. So without wasting any time, Villarreal kicks off the game. Villarreal would be the first ones with a dangerous opportunity, and a corner from Parejo into Unal leads to a goal being conceded by FC Barcelona. And I have to say that the defenders have to take the blame for this one, as they left Unal with way too much space and way too much breathing room to get that header. But you know what, I gotta keep calm. In fact, that was a bit of a lucky goal from Villarreal. So I'm going to ask for the ball. I receive it from Gundogan and I decide to take a shot to warm up my left foot. But in the 24th minute, we'd be in much more danger as Capu ran down the wings. He gave it to Yeremy Pino, who carried on the run. And once more, Unal is being left with so much space and he makes us pay for it. Honestly, this is getting very annoying at this point, especially this goal, because this feels like one we definitely could have avoided. But you know what, we just have to accept that the defense is not pulling its weight today. So in the attack, we have only 4 minutes left to get something before half time. And so Pedri and Romero link up in the midfield until Pedri gets the ball. He gives it to me. I decide to weigh up my options. I cut inside, lay it off to Romero. He gives it to Ferran. He dishes it to Lewandowski. But unfortunately, that doesn't end anywhere as Lewandowski was unable to find me. And we head into the half-time break, losing 2-0 against Villarreal. And honestly, it's been an embarrassing day out for the defense today. 70 minutes have been played, and honestly I gotta give the defense credit. They have not conceded yet, which honestly I did not expect. But I digress. I'm on the wings. I dish it out to Joao Cancelo. I make a run. Cancelo sees me, and now I'm 1-on-1 against the goalkeeper. I take the shot, and just like that, thanks to me, Barcelona has a lifeline in this game. Although unfortunately there's only so much that Lewandowski and I can do on our own, as we end up picking up a 2-1 loss against Villarreal. Now to be honest, this defeat really hurts, mainly because I had a good game and I could feel that I was having a great game. But unfortunately the defense let us down, and I really want to give them a piece of my mind, but I know that that's not the smart decision to make here. So I head to the media wall with my head down and my mouth shut, ready to answer some questions. So they wasted no time in asking me about the game, and I gave a genuinely honest answer. I was trying to say that we worked hard and I didn't throw anyone under the bus, because hey, all that's gonna do is cause some bad chemistry in the locker room. Then they asked if I had any plans of leaving FC Barcelona, and to keep it simple, I just said no. I plan on staying here. Push forward though, after some heavy training sessions and some words from Xavi, we do end up beating Osasuna 3-2. And that would actually end the month of August, but looking at the table, we definitely wishing that we had one more game in this month, because we end up finishing 8th at the end of August. But September would begin with Real Betis, who had an on-form Isco and Iglesias on their team. But we also have an on-form Robert Lewandowski, and right now, I have a point to prove. You see, I want to win the Player of the Month award in just my second month in Barcelona, to get another one over the young version of Messi. But to do that, I need goals and assists, and I need to have good performances, so it's only right that I start things off against Real Betis, trying to get myself a wonderful goal. Despite that save, we still had a ton of pressure on Real Betis, and I was primed up and ready for a shot, so they swung the ball my way, and I took a shot, but unfortunately hitting the post was all I could do. After that first half, I was definitely warmed up and I was definitely hungry for a goal. So during this build-up play, I'd eventually get my chance to prove myself as the next Messi, and what better way than to get past your opponent and score a beautiful goal. But eventually Real Betis would have their own opportunity to attack us. And I had faith in our defenders, but unfortunately they let Iglesias get through, and just like that, after 70 minutes of being on the receiving end of some punishment, Real Betis are the ones who opened the scoring. So with anger fueling my desire for an equalizer, I knew that I had to be the hero for FC Barcelona. It was now the 86th minute, and honestly, if we were not going to score, we'd leave with an embarrassing feeling in our hearts. But thankfully, Robert Lewandowski was able to show his experience and give us that equalizing goal. And just like that, in a game where FC Barcelona really should have scored at least 3 goals, they end up walking away with a 1-1 draw. And honestly, they escaped with the skin of their teeth. When I got back home, I got another message from Nadia. This time she wanted to give me something called a social presence report. From what I understand, this will basically be Nadia telling me the kind of reputation I have with different types of fans in the world of football. And so far it seems like I'm getting a good reputation with the passionate fans of FC Barcelona, but I am also losing the attention of the neutral fans of football, which actually does drive away some of these bigger sponsorships that I am looking for. But we couldn't dwell on this for long because soon enough it was going to be time for my Champions League debut. I was heading into this game against FC Porto with a bit of confidence because hey, it's not like I'm facing off against a team like Bayern Munich. To be honest, we should be grabbing a win here. We do get a strong start to the game as we're on the attack here. Lewandowski gives it to me, I dribble it forward, I lose it, I do get it back though. Lewandowski gives it to Gundogan, but unfortunately, no goal. Porto cleared the ball, but it only ended up as far as Ronald Araujo, and we began building up some play in the edge of the box. We got it to Lewandowski, but after a horrible flick, he gave it back to the midfield, and I got it, gave it to Gundogan, I gave it to Pedri. Eventually Lewandowski is able to get a shot at goal, and he gives us the opener in the first 7 minutes of this game. And now after seeing Lewandowski scored, I want to get a goal of my own. With 30 minutes on the clock, we were on a dangerous attack, and I got the ball from Lewandowski. I did end up giving it to Pedri. I did get it back though, lost it, gave it to Lewandowski. He gave it back to me and I took a shot. In the 46th minute, Porto had a dangerous set piece, and when they put the ball in, we were able to clear it though, and Christensen's clearance went to me when I chested it down, but unfortunately, since I did not clear the ball away, I almost ended up costing the team a goal. With 50 minutes on the clock, a Joao Cancelo throw-in would start a very promising attack as Gundogan sent me a long ball. I took control of it, I cut inside, I heard Pedri calling for the ball, so I backheeled it to him. He gave it back to me. I thought I was going to be able to take a shot, but unfortunately no space opened up. So I gave it to Gavi, I made a run into the box, and I was hoping to get myself a sweet assist. In the 60th minute, FC Porto were on the counter-attack, and it turned out to be a dangerous one as they got through the back line, and we were left in a vulnerable situation. But you know what? I'm going to trust the defense this time. I'm going to have a bit of faith. We're in this situation again where we play with our food, we mess around, and now we find out. But hey, this means I have the opportunity to become a hero. So hoping to score the game winner, I took a shot, but unfortunately the goalkeeper was able to save it. So Porto would get themselves a corner kick in the last seconds of the game. And we cleared the ball out, but the danger was still nearby as Porto were on the ball, they were on the left wing. But thankfully an interception from me was able to ensure that we only left this game with a draw. But once again, I felt like this was a game that we really should have won. It should not have ended 1-1, and unfortunately, we do end up disappointing the home fans in our first outing in the Champions League. The next day, Xavi called me into his office to ask about my mental state, and I told him that I was doing fine, but then shortly after I'd mentioned El Classico and asked him if he was going to be starting me, and he said that he would start me but only if I earned my spot. So I'd basically have a whole month to earn my spot in El Clasico, and we end up starting off the month in a bad way by drawing against RC Celta. But I would get this team back on form in the next game by winning 2-1 against RC Mallorca, with me grabbing a brace. After that, we'd find ourselves in 9th place in the middle of September. So heading into our next game against Sevilla, we knew that we had to win this game. And I knew that I had to be the one to carry Barca to victory. I knew that this game was not going to be Barca versus Sevilla, but it was going to be Giovanni da Silva versus Sevilla. And to prove my point, I scored the opening goal. But my work didn't stop there as I received the ball in midfield, I dribbled it forward, got past my man, laid it to Pedri who dished it to Koundé who found himself in acres of space, but he did cut the ball back to Pedri. Then Pedri gave it to me and I decided to take my chance. We were still on the front foot and I was showing Sevilla why I am the next Messi. And I saw Pedri making a run, so I dished it to him, and one-on-one against the goalkeeper, he took care of the rest. Then in the 65th minute, I went on an amazing run, going from one side of the pitch to the other. Despite Gavi ruining my highlight, I decided to push forward and get myself one more goal. We thought that this game would end 3-0 to Barcelona, but unfortunately Ocampos had other ideas. After Sevilla scored their consolation goal, the referee finally blew the whistle to end off a game where Barcelona wins 3-1, all thanks to a Giovanni da Silva masterclass. And of course, hard work deserves some credit, and after carrying FC Barcelona throughout the whole month of September, I get my award. And after the month of September, our good form would continue in October as we'd beat Granada 3-1, and then host a usually dangerous Athletic Bilbao, but this time we were able to beat them 2-1 in the Camp Nou. From there we would travel to the Champions League where we would beat Shakhtar Donetsk 4-2 thanks to a Giovanni da Silva hat-trick. And after this game, Xavi called me into his office to congratulate me on a good month and to announce that yeah, I've been selected for El Clasico. But of course he did the thing where he would try to keep me calm by setting low expectations, and I verbally agreed with it, but in my mind I wanted to put on a show for these Barcelona fans in my first ever El Clasico. And we are the ones to kick off the first El Clasico of my career. Heading into this game, I wanted to get myself a memorable highlight in my first El Clasico, so of course I went for a wild shot, but unfortunately it didn't go so well. And then we'd have Real Madrid on the back foot once more, this time Ferran Torres making a run on the left wing. So I got into position for the cross, and to give him credit, he put in an amazing cross, but unfortunately nerves got the better of me and I was unable to finish against Courtois. And just before halftime, Real Madrid got their chance to attack, and they found Ferland Mendy, who quickly got closed down by me and a few defenders, but he was still able to give it to Joselu, but thankfully Ter Stegen was able to save. But Real Madrid continued to apply the pressure, and we were all defending, we were all back, but unfortunately thanks to me, Real Madrid were able to get the opening goal of El Clasico. Toni Kroos getting past me to score would linger on my mind, and honestly I only wanted to do one thing, and that was to make it up to the fans. So in the second half I decided to myself that I was going to be the star of the show, so I got the ball from Pedri. I pushed it forward through the midfield, I wanted to lead the attack, I wanted to be the star of the show, so I gave it to Lewandowski, I made a run, and I knew that here I was going to be able to cross it into Pedri. I did, but unfortunately he let me down. And in the 74th minute, we knew that we'd get one last opportunity to score against Real Madrid. We won the ball back, they dished it to me. I gave it to Lewandowski. He was pushing it forward. I tried to make a run forward, hopefully to get some space to get a deadly through pass. But unfortunately, Real Madrid's defense stayed solid, but eventually it cracked through some beautiful play. But unfortunately, the last pass let us down. And after all that, the referee blows the whistle to end El Clasico. Unfortunately, thanks to a mistake from me, an error from me, we end up losing El Clasico at home. My first El Clasico was meant to be special, unforgettable, and it is unforgettable, but not in the way that I would have hoped. I caused Barcelona to lose today, and that is a football sin I will never forget.